Mr. Chieflove, thought I'd make you a video on orbs, since that has your interest. And I don't see orbs. Doesn't mean I can't guide you down the exact information of what they are. And it's people who do have the experience of them in their lives are the ones that know exactly what they are, but they don't know how to tell. And you can do this with anything to find out truth. It's what I use to tell me what's true. And look at it as a thing, a real live thing. You do comprehend that it's a thing. It's got a name. We put a name on the thing, which is called an orb. And you can do the same thing with any kind of problem you got. Put a name on a problem. Define the problem. You know, when you describe what an orb is, it's like, you know, what does it look like? You know, and describe what it looks like. You can do that with a problem. You can describe a size and a shape. You know, just look at an orb as being a problem. It's something that's there that you don't know what it is. You can describe the size and shape and things that you know about it, but that only makes you recognize that it's there. But once it's there, you can communicate with it. And this is something that nobody's talking about. Lots of science that proves this. So it's not just bullshit, it's information theory. Everything is information, and all information are held within its containers. Our information of who we are, you know, it is contained within this container, but it's got containers containing information, which your DNA has all of your information. You can't escape your freaking DNA. It has all of the information that tells you who you are. So even an air molecule has information inside the container that's holding it together. So all things are similar. It's just in this dimension that we see things with, we need to see the container to believe that it's there. That's why 99% of everything is invisible. The solution to every problem is invisible. You don't see what you can't comprehend, but it doesn't mean it's not there. So there is a real thing to do with orbs. You just don't understand it. But it's a thing that has information, and you can connect yourself with that information and find out what it is. And it's like, it's the wildest thing. It's like, I'd love everybody to sort of use this logic. It's the logic that I'm using that tells me what's truth. It's like you can get this all-knowing simply by knowing how to access all information. It's like, wouldn't you want to have an all-knowing? All you have to do is recognize that everything is nothing but information. And usually it's information that light shines on. You know, so what is light? Light is more information. The more information you gain from the thing that you can't see or don't understand, the more information you put on it, the more you can see it clearly. So it's not like shining light on something gives you an understanding. It's information that you shine on a thing, and then you get information. So here's what you got to do in order to use this tool, because it is like, once you know that this shit is there, then there is like rules, because you will get voices in your head, and it's like, you can tell by some of these people that, you know, like this last guy I was talking about that's seeing orbs, and he thinks he's, you know, telling the truth because he's got a lot of orbs around him. He's seeing orbs, doesn't know what they are, but he's taking it as a sign that they're there to tell him that he's right about something. So he's not using this tool very well. And we all use this tool. It's all there. Just because you don't know that it's a tool and, you know, it's something new to you, doesn't mean you don't use this daily. You're just using it wrong. It's the same thing with this law of attraction. It's a thing. It's, like there is an attraction. We're noticing that, what we think about tends to be what attracts into our life. We don't quite define that, but we're seeing a behavior that something that we're doing is causing an attraction. And it's a lot of people with The Secret are saying, just try it, see if it works. And it's like, it's nothing for you to try. It's something you do 24/7. If you don't like what you have attracted, kind of see what's inside you to see why you attract the shit that you do. So everything that you experience in your reality, just look at it as it's one big fucking illusion. Okay, none of it's real. If you understand how the eye works and how the eye, all the processes that the eye's got to do in order to get to the brain to see what it is that it sees. And it will fuck you up big time if you see exactly the mechanics that are involved for you to see what it is you see, and then just try and grab an understanding of, okay, if that's the way it is, how do all humans actually stay alive when that's the way it works? It's so easy for us to fuck up what reality is just based on how we receive information. We don't know how to do it correctly. So it's like, it's amazing we're all alive. It's one thing that you can celebrate is when you see the big picture. It's like, for this many people to be alive on this planet, knowing how fucked up we are doing good. But anyways, getting back on track. So the way to find out, the tool is, there's going to be a duality. Everything has this duality. And there's going to be a negative and a positive. You are a negative and a positive, and the thing is negative and positive. And if you want to understand all of this stuff, try and understand how holographics works. That everything in the holographic illusion has information of the whole, while it has information of just the part. So everything that's out in your external world is actually everything of you, if you can wrap your brain around that one. But what you're seeing is just the smallest aspect of you that you're trying to understand. So anything that you're going to see out in the universal world, like the spirits and anything outside of yourself, look at it as an illusion of something you want to see, because it's a reflection of who you are, and you're in a process of understanding yourself. Okay, so if you want to find out about yourself, you want to find the evilness about yourself, ask anything what it wants. And, trust in it and believe in it. And, it will support everything that's negative about yourself. So if you don't like your reality, then, maybe because you were a little angry and you were asking information how to continue being angry. And that's how it works. So the process is you really got to be peaceful, and you got to be loving. Whatever it is you want to see about yourself, you got to be in that state of mind, in that body state, not just wish you were happy. You actually have to be happy. The smile on my face, it can't be a fake it till you make it. It starts off that way, but you got to get yourself to a point where you're happy all the time when you're gaining information. If you have the slightest bit of, it's a little negative that day, or something affected you and you got angry, because you're asking the universe questions all the time. You don't have to open your mouth and actually say a question. All aspects of your body is sending and receiving information all the time. It's blocking out information all the time too. So if you're in that negative state, your universe will support that negative state that you want to be in. You really got to jump out of that. Like, how do you get from being in a bad mood to a good mood like that is pretty much where you got to be. So it's like, don't ever trust yourself until you see yourself being in that perfect loving state. If you're not, then trust that you're reading bullshit. You're following your own fucking insanity and believing in it. So, but you know, if anger and frustration was like a 10 and you're trying to find your way out of a problem and get truth, then trust you're going to get truthful answer if you can get in that loving state right at stage 1. But chances are, if you're going through fucking hell and you don't have any answers, it's going to be real hard for you to get that loving feeling. So it's like you're going to come down a level of your anger while you're asking questions, and then it'll feel like you're doing real good, but you're only a little bit good, so you got to keep yourself in check there. And you will get information that's better than as angry as what you were before. So anyways, its state of being while gaining information is huge. And then you start asking it what it wants. And it may say crazy wild things. You use your intuition. What's the first thing that pops into your head after you've asked the question? And it may be crazy as shit, but in the process of communication, try to understand that, you know, while you're in a loving state, that look at it as like a little baby that's immature and doesn't really know what is going on. Because generally, if you want to teach a child something, you have to get on their level and understand where they're coming from, and then you know the difference between right and wrong, so you'll be having more of a loving conversation with something that may sound a little strange, but the process is constantly, if you don't understand something, it's just like, well, why? But why? This makes more sense to me. Why wouldn't you do that? And you'll get this conversation going back and forth. For me, sometimes, like, my smoking addiction is still an ongoing thing. And it does give me an instruction guide of what it is I need to do. It's like it's given me a blueprint to a different direction, but it doesn't give me all of the answers right away, because I'm in conversation trying to really understand the logic. And it is a process of ultimately you've got to have, what is it you ultimately want, and look at it from a basis that who you are is somebody that doesn't die. So any logic of anything that's got to kill you is going to be, you know, coming from a source of fear. You know you have no fear when you know your default settings are to be human means to live. Nothing is going to kill you. Nothing needs to save you. You know, none of that would be going on in this conversation. But this thing out there may need you to save it. So, and in its process of needing to be saved, it's going to say, well, you just got to do this, you just got to do that, you just got to do this. You know, so it may give you messages of what it is that you think you need to do, but always find out the logic behind it. Why? Is the thing at war? Why is it at war? If you know, do you want to be at war? Is war a loving thing? So that's basically how you talk to things, is don't look at things out there, know the answer. You got to trust that to be human, you know who you are. If you know your default settings, if you know who you are, that you're a human, that you're meant to live, not die, that's the goal. How you live and how society lives dictates how long your lifespan is. If you know that default setting, that is like one big lie that, you know, challenge me, but what are y'all dying of? Let's look at that one. If you know that default setting, and you know that, you know, it's a holographic image experience, you know how information is being received and interpreted, and the logic that goes on, and you know that everything is information, and you know you communicate with information using your intuition, and how you perceive things all depends on your emotions. It's not rocket science that this shit does work. But you can get lost and go down the wrong fucking path if you're reflecting negative. If you don't know what the default truth is, you know, like if it's supposed to die, then the path to death will seem good to you. So that's why I question, you know your default settings and know how it's done. And you can find out what orbs are and then tell me. Peace out.